This is the Ogbunigwe. This is it. It was one of the most effective killing machines, one of the most effective killing tools the Biafran army had, and used effectively during the war. Ogbunigwe comes in different shapes and sizes. The term Ogbunigwe later came to include grenades, landmines, but initially referred to a non-guided rocket-propelled surface-to-air missile, which was later converted to a surface-to-surface missile. The first type of Ogbunigwe to be produced and tested in combat was the rocket-propelled surface-to-surface missile. It was designed as a surface-to-air missile to be used against the Nigerian Army airplane fighters that were attacking the Enugu airport. According to the Biafran government at that time, they claimed that the flying Ogbunigwe was the first rocket to be wholly designed, developed, mass-produced, and launched in Africa. It was used in combat in 1967, over 1 year before the launch of the first indigenous South African rocket in December 1968. At the height of production, about 500 units were being produced per day in Biafra. At the outbreak of hostilities, the Biafran armed forces were poorly equipped and compared to the Nigerian army, with arms and ammunition being in very short supply. The imbalance in power was intensified in the course of the war. Biafran scientists, prominently from University of Biafra, now the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, formed the Research and Production Agency, RAP Agency of Biafra, which included a weapons research and production group headed by Colonel Ejike Ogbunigwe Agayan. It was his aim and purpose of this group to develop an indigenous arms industry, and they soon started with the production of ammunition, grenades, armored cars, and their most effective and infamous product was the Ogbunigwe, of which we have already spoken. What you can see here is some of the armored cars or armored vehicles, as you might like to call it. Now, the Biafrans called it the Biafra Red Devil. So you had Red Devil Type A, Red Devil Type B, Red Devil Type C, and Red Devil Type D. The Type A vehicles were like the first ones, initially made. Okay? Now, Type B vehicles were made to improve on the Type A, and they were designed to transfer, Biafran soldiers like normal. Type C vehicles were made to improve on the Type B. The Type C vehicles were made to look like the popular Salahuddin armored vehicles. All right, the Saladin type of armored vehicles that can shoot and rotate at the same time. The Biafran soldiers, the Biafran engineers at that time from that project that RAP agency, tried to recreate that so that you had something similar. The Type D was an improvement on the Type C, and the Type D they created holes by the side of the armored vehicles where the Biafran soldiers could put out their guns and shoot from, even if they are taking fire, or even if the armored car or the armored vehicle is moving or advancing on enemy positions. These square spaces you can see on this vehicle are spaces where the Biafran soldiers could shoot from as the armored vehicle approached. Okay, so they could put out their guns from here and shoot the enemy while taking fire too. Do you understand? Right. Now, so they were taking fire. If you see these holes, these tiny holes that you can see, these are bullet holes to tell you that these vehicles were actual vehicles used in the war. All right, they were not fabricated. These were actually used in the war. These vehicles that you are seeing all here were used in the war. All right, so you can see the damage from the war. So look at this one. Several shots, explosions, probably grenades or bazookas or grenade launchers. You can see the damage. All right, this right here was one of the containers they used in refinery, all right, to produce the petrol that they used to power these vehicles.
Biafra has great oil reserves. It's a rich prize. As the war rages, the Biafrans have shown great ingenuity with small oil refineries in the bush, which produce petrol for the war effort.
How good is your petrol?
Very good.
Yeah? How many octane are you on?
About 55.
That's low by our standards. What about your cars? Are they all right?
It's not making any difference to our cars. Not now. We haven't noticed.
Yet much of the transport is out of action a lot of the time.
The drum here is a 90-gallon drum in which we have about 70 gallons of crude oil. This is, as you see, boiled, and it comes out through what we call the heat exchanger. The vapors come out from the heat exchanger, and through the heat exchanger moves on into the pipes until you have at the effluent at the very end there. Are you all right? Shall I introduce one of you, please, if you don't mind? That's it. You better move.
One of these small refineries exploded while the students were there, but no one was hurt. The remarkable Biafran effort to be self-sustaining will become more difficult as the territory diminishes.
So these are planes that were used by the Nigerian army to bombard the Biafrans. That's the ship, one of the ships used. These are some other Red Devils armored cars. These are the planes too. These things were basically used to really deal with the Biafrans. These are some more armored cars. So there were a lot of them. So many of these armored cars, Red Devils A to D, A, B, C, and D. Alright, so these are the gunships, attack ships. These are anti-aircraft guns that usually hooked on the ships. While the ships moved, these guns were fired. More weapons, more artillery, more of the Red Devil armored personnel carriers. You had this a lot. So these are all available. So those are artillery, mobile artillery units. Yeah. So these are all available at the National War Museum in Umuahia. Right? These are all available at the National War Museum in Umuahia. So you have time, go there and look at them. So the planes again. It was because of many of these planes that's why the Ogbunigwe was created. Alright? So the gunships again. Yeah, so these are some other. So this is the mobile artillery unit. That other one that we just saw with the long mouth was like an armored car. So this is like an armored car. So you see that turret in front where they shoot out bombs and all that, like another armored personnel carrier. So this was a Biafran plane. This BB905 was a plane that they made, a Biafran plane. These are armored cars, armored vehicles too. So you can see these planes too. The smaller one in front was a Biafran plane. Okay, Biafran plane. The bigger ones were the Nigerian army planes that the Biafrans created the Ogbunigwe for. All right. Now, let me not forget to mention the Ogbunigwe was also installed on planes. So there were some Biafran planes that actually had the Ogbunigwe installed. All right, so the planes could fire, the Ogbunigwe from there too. This gun is an anti-aircraft gun. Okay, anti-aircraft gun. This gun, yeah, anti-aircraft gun. This is another Biafran plane I was explaining. That one there, Biafran plane. Now, do you remember the Ogbunigwe was developed to damage these Nigerian planes flying? All right. So, following the fall of Enugu, a group of retreating Biafran soldiers were fighting rearguard action against a battalion of heavily armed Nigerian troops at the Guoba Bridge along the old Enugu-Awka road. As the ammunition of the Biafran troops was exhausted, their commanders ordered them, as a last resort, to adapt the use of the Ogbunigwe surface-to-air missiles they were equipped with by launching them horizontally at the enemy instead of vertically as designed for aircraft action. The effect was devastating and extensive, and the result of this incident, the missile was converted and utilized for the rest of the war as a surface-to-surface missile and as a surface-to-ship missile during the second invasion of Onitsha.